Hello and welcome. My name is Beth Porter, and as I've said already, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up here, for showing up to your grief, for saying yes. Um, I know it's hard. It's maybe the hardest thing that you've had to experience so far in life. Maybe it's not. But I'm here to tell you that you've got this. And I'm here to offer some space holding as well as tools and perspectives and reminders, truly reminders. Your soul already knows all these things, but reminders to help carry you through as you are transiting what I'm calling the waters of grief. Another thing I want you to try to anchor into as you are going through this process. Of course, I'm speaking about grief from a broad perspective in this offering. So trying to, frame it into whatever you're experiencing around grief. Grief can show up for us, in the obvious places when we lose someone that we love, whether that's a human or a pet, or if we've lost somebody that we love, through a breakup, a friend breakup, a divorce, a relationship ending. And grief can also show up when we're trying to shift our mindset, when we're trying to take up more space in the world, when we're trying to create, a different reality for ourselves. We can have, grief of losing the person that we used to be show up. So there are many ways that grief shows up. This particular offering is more specific to what occurs when we lose someone that has had an impact in our life. And again, this can be someone that you've loved. This can be someone that you have known or didn't know. This could even be applying to the collective grief that many of us are tuned into and experiencing around what's happening in the world. And there's many, many, many things right now. So I just encourage you to take what resonates for you and, leave the rest, as many people say. The next thing is to trust that life is holding you, that if grief is showing up in your world, again, for whatever reason, then you're meant to take the space for it. And I really believe that our life is supported, that we are meant to be supported by life, by God, by the universe, source, spirit, your higher power, whatever you call it. But when we can just sink into the trust that if grief is here and it's trying to take over, it's meant to. And I invite you to surrender to it. And I also want to just remind you that it will shift, it will change. We'll get into this deeper, but when we suppress our grief, it will come out in different ways. Our systems, our bodies, our spirit isn't meant to ignore these things. And I'll talk about this later as well, but the actual process of grieving is an essential process to assist in the departed as they are making their journey to the other side, whether you call the other side heaven or whatever your beliefs are. There's a process that we are meant to go through as humans on this side to create closure, to honor the existence of that human, that loved one, that pet, to then also help carry them over. And we don't do that in our world. Our world is lacking, really, truly lacking this. And grief is not normalized. And, grieving for a certain amount of time, like right after someone passes, makes sense. But when it shows up out of nowhere, 6 months later, people don't get it. Or maybe even 2 years later, people don't get it. And I'm hoping to offer a perspective of compassion and grace and again, I just want to thank you. If you're showing up to your grief, then you're modeling to yourself, to your family, to, you know, your loved ones, to the people in your world, that it's safe to grieve, and it's, you know, it's essential. So this is a big passion of mine. Grief hit me by storm 2 years ago, completely unexpected, right at the beginning of the pandemic and Black Lives Matter movement. And oh, look at this. And I've learned a lot through processing and healing, and there is massive healing available and massive beauty, um, a depth and a full expression of life that would have never occurred had I not experienced what I experienced. So again, I'm here to remind you that you will make it through this, and trust that you're held, trust that you're meant to be doing this. And what else would I say? Yeah, even just trust your own instincts. You know, if you feel like you need something, or if you're feeling drawn to do something, even if it's weird. So I'll give an example. When I was grieving, I had experienced the loss of an ex-partner. So my boyfriend from my high school sweetheart, took his life in May of 2020. And when, you know, we haven't been together for 7 years at the time, but it hit very hard. We were together for 10 years, from when I was 17 to 27. And it was a very formative and meaningful relationship in my life. And, you know, because we had split and had so many years apart, I'm now married, moved to States, you know, created a whole new life. Part of my process, in one of the waves of grief that showed up, you know, 7 months after his death, was looking for photos of us. It was so weird because I hadn't saved any, and I felt all the guilt and the shame and all that stuff. So there was a day where I like scoured like a mad woman, you know. Grief takes us into these edges of ourselves that we don't usually go to and express. And, you know, I sat in bed all day. It was like during the week, middle of the week. And I just was like on a searching rampage through people's Facebooks that I had remembered, you know, us being friends with when we were in college. So, I mean, literally, this like sounds crazy. But what I did was I screen grabbed or saved as many photos I could find of him, of us, of memories, and, you know, put them in a folder. And that was something I needed to do. It's fucking weird. I mean, I'm married, you know, I've moved on, you know, all those things that like life would tell us, or not life, that the world, that society, that, you know, maybe even some good friends would be like, you know, what are you doing? But it was important. It was a part of my process. And, you know, I can tell you to take all the salt baths and journal and shower and all those things that really help you to like move some energy. And we'll discuss some of the, you know, I mean, I'm basically sharing all the things that, you know, I did to support myself through my experience, and what I've then been helping my private clients with in our healing sessions. But what I really want to honor is that, you know, your soul, your spirit knows what you need to do to process. And so trust yourself, trust these nudges that you might get that maybe seem weird, and give yourself tons of compassion and grace and permission to really go there if you need to. Okay, so just to give you, yeah, a little heads up of what this is a 5 video course, mini course series or whatever. And that I'm going to try to keep the videos short and on very specific topics, as you're seeing through the PDF, but I tend to teach or speak and share in a very non-linear fashion. So yeah, just I hope you enjoy the ride and that this is supportive, and I'm always here for feedback, comments, questions, on the last page or one of the last pages, you'll see an email that you can reach me at. Yeah, sending you lots and lots of love, and see you in the next video.